It's time to stand up for your rights. This morning we have been chatting about so many things. We talk about recruitment service providers. We spoke about vaccines. We spoke about the sectors opening back up. And this morning we're also going to be chatting about child rights, because children rights are human rights as well. And this morning Hans is going to be having that conversation with young Sydney Sampson Fonrose. Hans?
Yes, I'm definitely going to be having that conversation. And it's interesting how these things tie together, because Diane Haddad, she mentioned in the interview a little while ago that even children with the most steady homes are facing real challenges in this time. And we've also seen an increase in domestic violence and abuse, especially among children during this time. So we welcome Cindy Sampson Fonrose, 15 years old, student of Holy Name Convent, Port of Spain, and one of 50 child rights ambassadors to Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning, Sydney.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. Good morning to everyone listening.
All right. Morning. Sydney, tell me about actually being a child rights ambassador. What does it really entail?
So it basically entails standing up for the rights of a child, advocating for what we believe in, and not only what we believe in, but what it takes to raise a well-rounded individual.
Right.
So I have been a child rights ambassador since November of last year, and I'm the fourth batch. They were established in 2017. And I just want to thank the Office of the Prime Minister for awarding me with this opportunity to continue to spread my knowledge on child rights.
Okay. Well, I want you to actually spread some knowledge on child rights now, because I want to know, what are the desired rights of a child?
Yes, so a child is anyone under the age of 18, in case anyone didn't know. And for child rights, there are 3 R's: the rights, the relevance, and responsibilities. So the rights are obviously the laws, the basic child rights, like a child has the right to an identity, a child has the right to food, to water, to proper health care. And the relevance is really making the rights real. That's actually my right for today. I have an Instagram page, and my right today is the right to make the rights of a child real. So, and we also have responsibilities. Not only do we have rights, but we have chores to do once it does not endanger your health physically or mentally. It is a chore, and it will make you into a respectable, responsible young adult.
Well, Sydney, obviously you're very passionate about being a child rights ambassador. Can you give me some insight as to what drives your passion with regards to child rights?
So I actually am a survivor of sexual assault. So when I heard about the child rights, I always wanted to share my story, but I didn't know exactly how to do it. And when I heard about the child rights, I said, oh, well, I don't have to be necessarily a sexual assault advocate only. I could advocate for all the rights of a child.
Now, you touched on something there, your personal experience. While we're not going to go into the personal experience, I would like to know, how were you able to function post this traumatic experience?
So in my younger years, I actually had to go over with my mom last night just to make sure all my thoughts were clear, because when I get into the topic, it's really, I don't want to say traumatic, but every time you think about it, it's like memories coming back. So a lot of people don't realize that it's not just something like the cold where you take medication and it's over. It's a continuous thing. And I remember even going to the police station to make the report, and it felt as if the person who was taking the report didn't believe me. So I think that's also something that adults have to keep in mind. When you make them feel like you don't believe them, then they're afraid to come out. I also went, they say go to a trusted adult. I went to a trusted adult, and that person told me, no, that person would never do something like that. And I think all those things add up to some of the problems that I have to work on myself personally today. So just going through it was one of the hardest things, but the second hardest was having to live after the situation and not being myself, and having people say, you're not really sounding like yourself, or you're not looking like yourself, or you're not talking like yourself. That's because I'm not me again. I'm not the same person that I was before, and that's okay because now I have the opportunity to share with people and share my experience and what could possibly prevent or stop what is going on now. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to share my knowledge so other people could hear it and somebody in the situation could say, oh, she came out, so now I can come out too.
All right. Now, I want to touch a little bit on future prevention. How do we prevent this from happening in the future? And if it does happen, how do we address it, particularly as young people?
Yes, in my opinion, I would believe that parents having a conversation with their children every day, especially if you know that they're not going to be in your care, sitting with them at the end of the day and asking them, how was school? How was this one's house? How was that one's house? Just really talking to them and also teaching children that, okay, somebody touch on your shoulder, you don't feel comfortable, you could come to me. Somebody touch you. If a handshake makes you feel uncomfortable, children shouldn't feel a type of way to come to their parents. So also make it an open environment where they can come to you with anything.
Right.
And you have to believe them. Make sure you listen to what they're saying, evaluate it properly, make all the necessary decisions, and believe them.
All right. My final question is, what advice do you have for someone who is probably viewing this program right now and is going through a similar experience? How do they move forward? How do they address things?
My personal advice, firstly, before I give you the professional advice, my personal advice is to always look for the best in it. It mightn't be the best situation that you're in, but say, you know what? Thank God I'm alive today. Thank God that I get to see somebody else today. Thank God that I just had the opportunity to view this program and now I know what I can do. And it wouldn't be easy because even last night I was speaking to it with my mom and I realized that, I'm not still fully recovered. So I don't want to give people false hope on being fully recovered because it's something that you have to live with. You can't just get rid of. So eventually you become more well equipped to go with it every day and you learn reasons to control your mind, stuff like that. And professionally, you can call the Children's Authority at 627-0748. That's 627-0748. Or the child line at 800-4321. The child line at 800-4321.
Thank you very much for speaking with us, Sydney Sampson.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, indeed. It was a pleasure. And thank you for sharing your experience. And we just pray and hope and send the best out to you. And we just say, for you, just continue doing what you're doing, being strong and spreading the right messages. All right?
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care. People out there, let's protect our children.
Believe them as well. I think a big part of what she's saying there in terms of, the communication between parents and children is so important. Your child will come and tell you something sometimes and, you have to ask a question and say, is this pretend? Is this real? Is this, just do the questions and find out what is real, what is not, and get an idea of where they're coming from so that you can better respond to them and believe them as well. All right, guys, we have one more interview coming up this morning, and we're going to talk about inspiration now. But before that, we're going to take a quick break and come back with more in our morning show. Stay tuned.